This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. It is now or never for Maga and Donald Trump's supporters to wake up to the fact that the left and the right are working together. Divide and conquer, the oldest motto in the book. And they are working together to bring about a new world order. This whole AI infrastructure bill is everything I've been warning about for years now, specifically within the last year, talking about Trump, Elon Musk, and bringing this in while distracting you with all of these other nonsensical issues about gender, about pronouns. This is all done by design. This is the two sides working together as one. And there's a reason that Donald Trump, within 24 hours of being put in office, has not only passed this $500 billion infrastructure bill, but has begun talking about the promise of a cancer vaccine. And in addition to the cancer vaccine, he's talking about AI healthcare. These are things that everybody out there needs to wake up and pay attention to. The alt-right media is going to gatekeep you from the truth. There's a reason that over the last 10 years, from Obama, Barry Soetoro, to Joe Biden, to Donald Trump, have been talking about a cancer vax promise because they are attempting to edit your genetic code. I mentioned years ago how there was going to be a switch after the corona outbreak, how they were going to need to pivot to get people on board with getting this in you, because it's all about editing your genetic structure. So naturally, the thing that they were gonna do was pivot to cancer, something that we all know is real, as opposed to what? The corona popping up out of nowhere, people being skeptical about its existence in the first place. Everybody knows somebody who died of cancer or who has been very sick from cancer. It's a real thing, right? But they don't tell you why it really occurs. So now Donald Trump has come out 24 hours only being in office, and he's announced that they're going to start working towards this cancer vax. And I'm going to play for you this clip from Larry Ellison talking about gene editing and curing cancer with mRNA. They don't expect you to wake up to what they're talking about. They only expect you to hear trigger words like cancer and cure. What he's talking about when it comes to cancer can easily be cured. They could stop putting soft metals in our food because that's what they do. They poison us. They damage our DNA. They do things like dumping all sorts of chemicals in all processed food, right? Then we look up and what do we see? Them dumping barium and aluminum, bale, on us from the sky every day. Then, not to mention, when you want to talk about damaging your DNA, those gigantic towers that they tell you are up to make your phone download things faster, which nobody has seen the difference at all, yet nobody questions why those towers are up because they're so busy looking down on their phone. And keep in mind what I discussed with people like Kate Middleton and how more and more prominent figures that people like and trust are going to get diagnosed with cancer because they're going to come in. Right now they're saying Kate Middleton is in remission, but they're going to come in and they're going to talk about how, oh, they've got it again, it's back, and now they need to do something or they're going to lose their lives. And they're going to start marketing you this cure for cancer out in the open. And it is gene editing, a specific vax for each individual. Listen to this. And if you're a MAGA, now is the time to wake up, because for everybody out there that gave Donald Trump a free pass after Operation Warp Speed, within 24 hours, he's talking about this. A light bulb should go off in your head because it's all about editing what it is to be a human being. And Elon Musk plays a huge role in this. Here is Larry Ellison talking at the White House while Donald Trump announces this $500 billion AI governance infrastructure, which is the blueprint of the World Economic Forum and everything they're trying to establish over there in Davos. Donald Trump is bringing it in 24 hours and talking to you about editing your genetic code.
One of the most exciting things we're working on, using the tools that Sam and Masa are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do it using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again, using AI in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
So it's very important to note all of the things that you just heard, specifically when it comes to your genes, right? It's very important to remind people out there that you have your very own unique genetic code. When they talk about altering your genes and editing your genes, they're editing who you are. Keep that in mind as this video goes on. Let me point out the obvious things that are being discussed here, because this all connects to a lot of the stuff going on in the world, the noise that you hear about United Healthcare and how the healthcare system is broken. It's broken because they want to bring in a new infrastructure. Okay, so Elon Musk has created AI Doctor. It's hidden in more than 400 million phones, and he aims to revolutionize the healthcare system through advanced diagnostics and personalized treatment plans. So everybody hears that, and they have no idea what that means, right? You just heard that guy talk about personalized treatment plans. That's what he was just talking about. That's what Larry was talking about. Personalized vaccines for people. Elon Musk, with AI, is aiming to revolutionize healthcare through advanced diagnostics. So what does that mean? What it means is a new healthcare system. And the AI is inside of your body. So in other words, when they're talking about monitoring and tracking what's going on underneath your skin, they're talking about things like the Neuralink, which is a Fitbit for your brain. And they're talking about gene editing, which is editing what it means to be human. I'm going to play for you a few clips here of Elon Musk talking about how the Neuralink is a Fitbit for your brain, how Elon Musk's mother, May Musk, talks about how people out there are crazy if they don't want to have this implanted in them. They could have diseases cured. They won't be paralyzed anymore. This is how they're working you into getting technology into your body, by scaring you and telling you that these things could track heart problems, cancer, any type of virus. With it inside your body, it could detect it early, and it'll be able to notify your healthcare physician or whoever else ahead of time. But they need to get inside your body. Even Klaus Schwab here talking about how this gene editing, which is exactly what Larry Ellison said, he talked about gene editing. Here's Klaus, here's May Musk, here's Elon, explaining to you in the simplest terms what they're trying to do.
In a lot of ways, it's kind of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires. We feel confident about getting the link procedure, the installation of a link, done in under an hour. So you can basically go in the morning and leave the hospital in the afternoon. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take a genetic editing, right. Just as an example, it's you who are changed. Yeah. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
Yeah. And offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. When you began to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem. And of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities, but It raises manifold questions on the ethical, but even legal implications. And we have to be prepared for it. And that's what we want to do in Davos next year.
Well, every time I'm surprised, and every time I say, don't take on something else. And he doesn't listen to me. And then he makes a big change. And this Neuralink, people saying, why I don't want something in my head. I said, well, you aren't paralyzed. So, or you aren't blind.
Good point.
If you're blind and you don't want to see, then you can argue the point. You don't have to have a chip in your head. I think he's the genius of the world. And this Neuralink, people saying, why I don't want something in my head. I said, well, you aren't paralyzed. So, or you aren't blind.
Good point.
If you're blind and you don't want to see, then you can argue the point. You don't have to have a chip in your head. A chip in your head. A chip in your head.
In a lot of ways, it's kind of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires.
So again, it's about getting under your skin. And by gene editing, it changes you. Your own unique genetic code is altered. They're creating a hybrid race of humans. You may have heard terms in the past like master race, right? Well, what do you think they're trying to do when you hear Elon Musk openly tweet about X as humanity's collective consciousness, or creating a neural lace is the thing that really matters for humanity to achieve symbiosis with machines, or if successful, X will evolve to be the collective consciousness of humanity, or more accurately, the human machine collective. They are trying to turn human beings and mix iron and clay into transhumans. Elon Musk has talked about how the smartphone will become obsolete. BCIs like Neuralink are the way forward. That is what they have to convince you of. And they're gonna use things like cancer, which they could easily cure by not poisoning us anymore from the skies, from the towers, from our food, from our water. They don't tell you why cancer exists because they don't want you to realize why it exists, because they would all be rounded up for judgment. They want you to believe that it's a mystery. And you watch people around you continually die from it, and they're going to come in with the cure. And they want this AI inside of your body. And remember, the World Economic Forum, AI in healthcare, buckle up for change, but read this before takeoff, right? They've been conditioning you with Musk and these other tech giants about moving forward with AI healthcare. That is exactly why you saw that PSYOP with Luigi Mangione, because they've martyred him and they've made him a hero out in the public because they keep telling you that the healthcare system needs to change. It's called problem, reaction, solution. The government wants AI healthcare in place, and they want you to have tech in your body, and they're going to tell you that so you can monitor these diseases. But it's technology that's going to be controllable tech. They will be able to control you with this technology. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie because you've been trained to think that this is impossible to do. But they can do this. And Luigi Mangione, that entire PSYOP, why they showed you that footage 5 seconds after it happened. It was immediately on the news. They didn't want to hold on to the footage of the shooter, right? They just immediately plastered it all over national news within hours. How about other crimes where you don't find the videos for years and years and years because they never show you the videos of it? They wanted it out there because they wanted people to see his manifesto so they could relate and say, you know what, the healthcare system is a problem. That's how problem, reaction, solution works. So people have already been trained ahead of time to want this change in the healthcare system. And I'm not saying that the healthcare system is good. I'm not applauding the current healthcare system. I'm telling you that the solution that they're going to give you is what they wanted from the get-go, and it's way worse than what's in place right now. So AI governance, that's what this is about. Everything through AI, healthcare, all forms of government. That's why you keep hearing them talk about useless government employees and why we need to remove them. They're baiting you into thinking that this needs to change, but they're the ones who want to change it because AI infrastructure is the new world order. It is the Tower of Babel. And I'll cover in more detail the entire bill that Donald Trump passed, and I'll talk about and hopefully try to wake people up out there who are awake, maybe they'll see some of the signs I wanted to break down into two separate videos, the AI governance and the AI infrastructure versus them talking openly about gene editing. Because the gene editing and the fact that they're already talking about mRNA 24 hours in to Donald Trump being put into power should make you go, you know what? You know what? This isn't right. I don't agree with this because everybody out there just gave Trump his free pass. Everybody out there just automatically let all the stuff that Trump did with Operation Warp Speed go. Why? Because they were deliberately driven insane by the Democrats in power. And all they heard about was pronouns and all this ridiculous stuff that's a waste of time that anybody who talks about should be put in an insane asylum over. They've gotten you all worked up over those things that they wanted you to forget, and you did forget about Operation Warp Speed, and it took 24 hours. And he's already in power talking about personalized vaccines for people that will edit your genes, which means it'll change you, because by editing your genes, it'll change your own personal genetic code. And there's a reason that all of these presidents have been mentioning cure for cancer over the last decade. Here's some clips just of Biden and Obama talking about curing cancer. They've been doing it to desensitize you to plant seeds that it's coming. But at the same time, they've been weighing the pros and cons of who will be the one who releases it. They know Democrats will put anything into their body no matter what because they trust in science. They know conservatives don't. So they're lumping this up with Donald Trump once again because the key is getting it into everyone's bodies. But here they are for years now talking about curing cancer with a vaccine.
The families that we can still save. Let's make America the country that cures cancer once and for all. What do you say, John?
When your grandchildren, and I look forward to the day when your grandchildren and my grandchildren and their children show up at the office to get their physical to start school, they get a shot for measles, they get a vaccine that affects significant number of cancers. We are very close to reaching that point and finding out what is the fundamental root cause of what makes a gene not turn off. A rogue gene, a cancer gene, continue to eat up parts of the body. If I'm elected president, you're going to see the single most important thing that changes in America is we're going to cure cancer. My word as a Biden, this cancer moonshot is one of the reasons why I ran for president. It's part of my unity agenda that I laid out in my State of the Union address to rally the American people to work together. Because we know this, cancer does not discriminate red and blue. It doesn't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Beating cancer is something we can do together, and that's why I'm here today.
And of course, interestingly enough, you have Joe Biden talking about how they want kids to go into school, get their measles shot, get their cancer shot, right? Remember they were telling you about that a couple years ago? That's what the plan originally was, okay? And when there is pushback, things can change. It could slow down this New World Order locomotive. And there was pushback. People woke up to what was going on. But 4 years went by of utter insanity that everybody gave Trump a free pass again. So now they put Trump back in because they said, look, 50% of the population won't put this in them. So let's just forget about variants. Because remember, we heard it was going to be variant after variant after variant forever. They just dropped the variants. Why? Because it wasn't working. So they pivoted, and they pivoted to cancer, something we all know is real, something people are fearful of getting. Everybody out there is fearful of getting cancer. So they're going to use that as a way to suck you in. And then they want the conservatives to say, look, it's Donald Trump. I trust Trump. They tried to kill Trump. Trump is a Christian because he says he's a Christian, even though he's not. If Trump says that this is going to cure it and this is the way to move forward, we'll go forward. And that's why they've lumped Elon Musk up with him. It's literally the black goo that you see that I've covered over the years from Lady Gaga's disease, video that just came out, where they literally show you the black goo, or millions and millions and millions of movies and TV shows about the black goo. It's nanotech. It's gene editing what it is to be human. That's what it's about. It's not about curing anything. It's about getting this inside of your body. It's time for Maga to come out of this. It's now or never. The assassination attempts should have been enough to wake people up to Maga. Operation Warp Speed should have been enough to wake people up to Maga. The flippity flop talk of Donald Trump talking about how there's not going to be elections ever again. Or the fact that he was saying, I'm not Christian, I mean, I'm Christian, out in the open. And he baited people in. But just the false flag, really the psyop of the assassination attempt should have woke people up. Well, if that didn't, this better. This better. Because he's already at it again. And make sure you look out for my AI infrastructure video. Because if anyone out there doesn't understand what all these meetings are about in Davos, at the World Economic Forum, it's all about AI infrastructure. A new world order can only be built through artificial intelligence. It's the only thing that can connect you to somebody in China, to somebody in Timbuktu. That's why they need AI governance. Otherwise, you can't have a new world order. There's no way to connect people all across the world. It's the modern day Tower of Babel, and Trump is bringing it in hook, line, and sinker. Don't forget how these people in the alt-right media are ignoring the entire Greenland and Canada thing and the North American Union, which is a blueprint by the Club of Rome. These are all things that are happening. Trump is implementing the New World Order. It's time to wake up to it. Come out of the left-right paradigm. These people continue to come to my channel and they go, oh man, this guy's a lib. I am not a Democrat. I am not a liberal. I do not support Joe Biden. I do not support Kamala Harris or Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama. Just like I don't support Donald Trump or any of these people because they work together. That's how you create this. You divide the people and you continue to systematically sabotage the infrastructure while stripping us of our laws and rights while we stay fighting with one another over complete nonsense. If everybody knew they were working together, the people would rise up against it. The left and right wouldn't exist anymore. People would say, who are these people to tell us how to live or what to do? But everybody's clamoring to their political party. And the political party is what keeps you trapped in this. Elections are fake and rigged. How many times do you need to see Donald Trump and Biden and Obama call the other party terrorists, extremists, the worst things that have ever happened, and then have them sitting next to one another, smiling, talking, holding hands for the most part, singing Kumbaya while they keep you divided because it's a plot. This is what a conspiracy is. It's nations conspiring against one another. And in order to do that, they need to continue to break nations down from within. And that's what the left-right does. I thank everybody for being here. Share this video. Hopefully it wakes people up. A lot of people out there don't have any understanding of what they're trying to do with gene editing. And I try to just say, look, when you see a crime show, what do you always hear, right? DNA evidence. They find the DNA, they can find the guy. The guy left the DNA swab, we can find who it is no matter what, right? Well, why can you do that? Because he has his own specific, unique DNA, okay, right? You have yours, I have mine. That's how God created all of us, unique. They want to change that. They want to change God's creation, what it is to be human. This ties in to the mark of the beast because you will no longer be a creation of God if you allow them to edit your genetic code. And that's what they're doing. Everybody has their own unique DNA and genetic code. They want to alter it into one, into a collective consciousness. Human beings, as Elon Musk, he says it openly, human machine collective, achieving symbiosis with machines. Well, what do you think that means? He's the one talking about smartphones being obsolete because the new BCIs are going to be Neuralink. He's the one talking about Fitbit for your brain. And when they're talking about AI healthcare, that's what they're talking about. It's going to be underneath your skin. Pay attention. I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.